Hi, welcome to the podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start conversation on Unit 26 ODL Problems and Prospects, and our topic is ODL, ICT and Market, a Critic. In recent years, a lot of discussion has taken place in the interface of ODL with market forces and ICT. There are social, economic, and political implications of the extensive use of ICT in the ODL. In the following sections of the unit, we shall examine some of these issues. The first is ODL, e-learning, and automation. In the wake of globalization and the revolution in the ICT, there have been tremendous efforts both by the ODL institutions and by the regular universities to integrate the learning process with e-learning in particular and ICT in general. These processes, while they have unfolded several new opportunities of learning, have also produced new challenges for society. Academic institutions, teachers, and for learners, scholars have tried to understand this phenomena with diverse perspectives. Noble, in his famous work Digital Diploma Mill, has highlighted the commercial, pedagogical, and ethical implications of online educational technology. He demonstrates the significant correlation between the commercial capital and the expansion of e-learning in the ODL system. To him, the high-tech transformation of higher education is being initiated and implemented from the top down, either without any student and faculty involvement in the decision making or with it. It is also pointed out that the getting technologically transformed, the educational campuses are now functioning as a significant site of capital accumulation by converting intellectual activity into intellectual capital. To him, this process has started with the process of commoditization of the research function of the university and thereafter transforming commoditization of the educational function of the university, transforming courses into courseware, the activity of instruction itself into the commercially viable proprietary products that can be owned and bought and sold in the market. The corporate and the political leaders of the major industrialized countries, to retain their supremacy, now turn towards knowledge based industries. This has led to the unprecedented collaboration between the corporate and academic board rooms and the foundation of the joint lobbying efforts. The foremost promoters of this transformation are the hardware and software vendors who view education as a market for their wares. Corporate training advocates and the university administrators who see it as a way of giving their institutions a fashionably forward looking image and view the computer based instruction as a means of reducing their direct labor and plant maintenance cost and believe in undermining the autonomy and independence of faculty, supported by a number of private foundations, trade associations, and academic corporate consortia and techno-zealots who simply view computers and e-learning as a panacea for all elements of education. To Noble, there are several implications of the commoditization of university of education. Teachers and labor are made subject to all pressures of undergoing rapid technological transformation from above, reduce their autonomy, independence, and control over their work. Once faculty put their course material online, the knowledge and course design skill embodied in that material is taken out of their possession, transferred to the machinery and placed in the hands of administration. The process of the commoditization of instruction involves the transformation of the university into a market for the commodities being produced. He points out that the administrative propaganda routinely alludes to an alleged student demand for the new instructional products and thus try to create a market by fiat, compelling students and faculty to become users and hence consumers of the hardware, software, and content products as a condition of getting an education, whatever their interest or ability to pay. Students enrolled in courses using virtual software are in fact formally designated experimental subjects. Commercialized higher education research thus has become a means to serve commercial ends by bringing university and industry into close partnership. Faculty based producers of commodities for their employers. Gradually, the universities are emerging stronger by securing the patent rights of the intellectual capital. Here, the instructional process classroom teaching is converted into marketable products such as a CD, ROMs, websites, or courseware which they may or may not themselves deliver. Nobel also points out that as the universities are going into business for themselves, the issue of copyright has acquired a place of central significance. By the universities are now undertaking to undo such traditional faculty rights in order to capitalize on the online instruction. In the wake of the online education gold rush, many have begun to wonder, will the content of the education be shaped by scholars and educators or by media businessmen, by the dictates of the experienced pedagogy or a quick profit? Now let us move to the next point, market drive, ICT and ODL. Lachem and Hanna, while identifying the major challenges encountered by open and flexible learning, points out that in general higher education is experiencing a shift from supply driven to demand driven pressures. This has been mostly because of the challenges encountered by the ODL from the forces of globalization and information and communication technology, competition from new providers, and the increasing drive for self-sustaining education. There have been growing demands for relevant accountability. Universities are increasingly seeking solutions to these challenges in the open and flexible learning and ICT. You have observed the proliferation of the distance education institutions all over the world. There has emerged a trend to market the education through distance education mode even in the conventional universities. In many cases, ODL is getting transformed from quality driven and marginal to commercially oriented and mainstreams. There are both the opportunities and the dangers in these developments. It is apprehended that in the move of the internationalized and the commercialized open and flexible learning, the need of the disadvantaged and marginalized may be overlooked, and in the blurring of distinction between the on and off campus teaching and learning, the particular needs of the distance learner disregarded. As education has emerged to be the tradable commodity, many educational institutions use ODL as an important platform to facilitate trade in a competitive environment. Evans and Kings are of the opinion that the politicians and the administrators of the developing countries use the produce packages of learning material as a quick fix readily to trade in market. They have also highlighted the aspect of academic imperialism as spread through ODL. Here we wind up this conversation, and thank you so much for choosing this podcast.